Hey guys, and welcome to Sorority Stories number 15. So 15 work days until we launch the sorority to the public. I put out a TikTok the other day that had the thumbnail, the title, Upgrade Your Life, Upgrade Your Pageantry. And I was thinking about this yesterday again when I interviewed Christina Chalk, who's a Miss Universe Great Britain finalist. I don't know, by the time you watch this, Miss Universe GB has probably been held, so who knows, maybe she's won the whole thing. But at this stage, she's a finalist, just a finalist. But I interviewed her, and I was fascinated in particular about her work with self-esteem queens. You can look that up on Instagram, self-esteem queens. And she created this, frankly, as she said, for herself during a hard time that was around about the beginning of COVID. And she felt like she really needed to connect with other like-minded women. She herself was going through a hard time. And she set up this professional networking group. Yes, it had some pageant queens in it, but it wasn't exclusively for pageant queens. And they would get together and just discuss some of the difficulties they were going through. And they would also help, because they would discuss about their professional lives. They would also be able to help each other in terms of networking. And I mean, obviously I remarked in a previous sorority story that I truly believe, and this is something that I think is very fundamental, and so hear me on this. I don't agree with you keeping your life static and then just going and, let's say, take pageant coaching or walking lessons year in, year out. Let's say you didn't win your dream pageant, and you just think that if I just work on the pageant skills, then somehow I'm going to win. Now, even if that's the case, even if you do win, what I really would much rather see you do, and this might be fundamentally opposed to some of what you believe, I would really rather see you focus 80 or 90% of your time and effort on upgrading your life. Right? I mean, the key areas, things like your career, your relationships, your health, your finances. And I truly, truly believe if you upgrade that, and you go through the difficulties and the challenges that are associated with that, right? It's not easy. It's not easy to get ahead in your career. It's not easy to form a magnificent relationship at every level, or maintain a great network of friends, or to even stay healthy, especially during COVID, healthy and fit when a lot of us aren't feeling the motivation for it. And my belief is that if you go through the struggles in those areas, and many of us have, then when you come to pageantry, it's very easy, because all you have to do is basically show your story, tell your story, talk about the difficulties you've overcome. You're not in this position where, and I see this again and again, and to be honest, it really annoys me, where you haven't really worked on yourself. You're still in a job, let's say you're in a job that you hate. Let's say you are not happy in your relationship. You've kept the same network of friends, even though you guys aren't really pushing each other to new heights. You're just kind of sitting around doing nothing. And you think that coming to a pageant and working again and again and again on what to say and how to walk and what to wear, when you haven't worked on yourself, and you think that's kind of the key to winning a pageant. And it's very difficult to, let's say, start an advocacy or a platform and to have it really, for people to really believe it, unless you've really lived it. That's my belief anyway. And I see this again, time and time again, where people are sort of, and I'm sure you've seen this too, I'm not going to say they're faking their advocacies or faking their passions, but in some cases, it's verging on that. And I've seen interview coaches who will teach their girls exactly what to say, and they're kind of trying to hide the fact that they don't have much to say. Not because they're not good people, but because they spend so much time dedicated to working on the pageant skills that they've neglected working on themselves. Now, I don't know about you, but I would much, much rather have someone who doesn't have the most polished walk or the most polished interview skills, but has obviously created or is in the process of creating an amazing life. I would feel much more comfortable holding that person up as a genuine role model than someone who doesn't really have much going on in their life. And I'm not making a value judgment there. They would probably tell you they haven't got much going on in terms of their career, friendship, relationship, etc. And rather than working on that, they're trying to work out what the best dress to wear is or how to walk. You take that person, I'll call them a pageant Paddy, that person who hasn't really worked on themselves and instead has focused obsessively, and I do mean obsessively, on her perfect wardrobe or her perfect walk. You know, maybe she's given her walk a name, or she has sourced some custom gown and paid thousands and thousands of dollars. And look, if you want to do that, more power to you. But those people who don't really have the substance to go behind the style, those are the people that I've seen, they talk a good game, but if they don't win or don't place exactly where they wanted to or where they expected to or where their friends told them they were going to, they are the ones who take the losses really, really hard. Frankly, I've seen some of them become depressed afterwards, even though they told me, I don't really care about winning. For me, it's just doing my best, competing, meeting people. And yet when they didn't win, they became depressed. And it didn't take a genius to figure out, well, the reason that they were depressed is because they were banking all their chips on winning. And if they didn't win, when they didn't win, they had to go back to a life. And I'm not judging anyone, but I'm not judging anyone like, oh, your life is sucky. No. They went to a life that they would have told you themselves they didn't really enjoy. Right? They didn't enjoy their job. They didn't enjoy their relationship. Or they had a circle of friends that they didn't really feel was lifting them up. And rather than focusing on getting those things cranking, they had focused on the pageant almost as a way of an escape, but also under this kind of illusion that if they won the pageant, all the other stuff is somehow miraculously going to resolve itself. And I'm here to tell you, I don't think that's the case. I strongly disagree. I think, and this is the whole subject, the topic of this sorority story, upgrade your life. Work on those critical areas, whatever the areas are to you. I mean, most of us are going to have career, most of us are going to have health, finances, family, etc. Focus relentlessly on upgrade, and you can enjoy it as well. It doesn't have to be a chore, but focus on, we call it constant and never-ending improvement in those areas. And then I guarantee you, if you come back to the same pageant year after year after year, or you're competing in a different system year after year after year, whatever it is, you're going to notice improvement. And by that, I don't mean you necessarily place better, but you'll feel that you go there and you're more comfortable knowing what to say, knowing that you have something to say, because you've been working on yourself in the background. And of course, you don't just say, I'm going to work on myself and I'm going to ignore all the pageant specific skills. So I'm not saying you work on your career and don't take runway training or don't take interview training. But I'm saying have both. But I'm saying on top of that, I'd rather, if I could click my fingers and give you success and fulfillment in one area, right? We say one area is your life and one area is pageantry. And really, really think about this, right? If you had one wish, right? And you were to click your fingers and this genie would grant you one wish. I'm not going to grant you three, just one. And you had the choice between creating fulfillment and success in your life or just in the pageant area, which one are you going to choose, right? I really hope you're going to, choose to create an amazing life and rather than just success in the pageant area, because that's fleeting. Creating a lasting relationship, creating bonds with your friends, with your family, creating an amazing network, creating an amazing career or starting your own business. Those are journeys that you can go on for life. Pageantry, even if you win, it's only a 1-year reign. And the thing is, I don't think they go both ways. So as I said, winning a pageant, I don't think necessarily really affects your life to the extent that some people might think. Now, obviously, if you win a Miss Universe title, an international title, and I'm working with people who are aiming for that, right? So I know what it's about, what it's like, the sort of pressures you put yourself under. So maybe, yes, if you win that Miss Universe title, depending on, let's say, you come from a country, especially like Venezuela or Philippines, yes, maybe it will transform your life in terms of finances and things like that. Will it change? Will it help the psychological issues you have, the imposter syndrome? I don't know. You could argue either way. But yes, I think at that highest of high levels, it's like anything else. If you achieve the ultimate success, then yes, of course, it's at least going to financially impact you. But how many of us are going to get to that point of winning the biggest pageant in the world internationally? Right. I'm all for positive thinking, right? But I'm also for intelligent thinking. If your entire effort is predicated on I'm going to win Miss Universe International and you have no other plan, you might be setting yourself up for failure. So when it comes to the sorority, and this is the thing, long-winded way of saying, after I interviewed Christina, we were talking probably for another couple of hours off air about some of the amazing things that she's doing. And with Self-Esteem Queens, she's created that network of women who can really help each other out, not just in pageantry. Right, this is a thing I kind of made fun about. The sorority is not going to be, oh, anyone got any appearances happening today? Or, anyone, I'm running this event, come support me. It's not just about that. We're talking about a different level of network where we want you to be able to help women in terms of their career, in terms of finances. I mean, Christina had someone come in and give a keynote speech to her Self-Esteem Queens about finances and about fitness. And I would really, really love to bring that into the sorority as well. And so the goal will be people in the sorority, you joining the sorority, the women in the sorority are going to be upgrading every facet of their life, not just pageantry. Now, that being said, obviously there's going to be some pageant-specific information in there. Otherwise, I wouldn't call it the pageant sorority. So bringing in people such as Danielle, the pageant stylist, to talk about pageant style. And I will bring in people to talk about walk. And if we bring in people on fitness, then yes, there will be some sort of specific focus on fitness for pageantry, because fitness for pageantry is not the same as fitness for weightlifting, fitness for tennis, or fitness for whatever. You get my drift. So that's my spiel for today. And if there's one take-home message from this for you, moral of the story, I really want you to just examine, am I focused on upgrading my life? Like, if you're, especially if you're someone who just continually competes in pageants, well, is the person competing, is that person who's competing in the pageant in 2021 significantly different and hopefully better, more of a complete person, someone who's learned more, progressed more, improved more? Is that 2021 version of yourself better than the 2020 version? Better than the 2019 version? Better than the 2010 version? And I really, really hope so. But that doesn't happen just by coincidence. You can't just put your life in the background and just assume that it's going to that it's going to progress. As I say, like, change is automatic, but progress is not. You're definitely going to be changing. Your life will be changing all the time. But have you actually made any progress in your life? Have you progressed in your health? Have you progressed in your fitness, your relationships, your career, your finances? Are you kind of the same, like at the same point where you were a year ago, 5 years or 10 years ago? Or have you gone backwards, right? And there's no shame in that. I mean, during COVID, so many of us, myself included, financially certainly took a big hit. So it's not about, oh my God, you're making me feel bad. There's no point in feeling bad. But just that intelligence of going, okay, and just have the courage to look at yourself and go, is my life on track to where I want it to be in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And if it's not, or you haven't given it any thought, maybe now is not the best time to enter a pageant. Maybe you're just using that as a distraction. I don't know. I can't tell for certain. Only you can say. But look, if you use the pageant as motivation to get your life happening, then we can talk about that. That's a different story. But I'd much rather you have, and I'd much rather network and be friends with people women such as yourselves who I think are dedicated to creating an extraordinary life and just happen to have this hobby of pageantry. And yes, you could be crazy passionate about pageantry, like some people are crazy passionate about golf, or I'm crazy passionate about tennis. But my point is, I'd much rather be friends, and I tend to be friends with women such as that versus women who all they talk about is pageant, 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 pageant. Sort of professional pageant competitors. Because I don't know about you, but I find it at some points a little bit shallow when all you're talking about is how you walk, or where you're going to get your dress from, or what color your dress is, or what color you're going to dye your hair. Look, I know there might be a man-woman difference thing going on here, and there certainly is. But look, you want deep, lasting fulfillment in your life. And you know it's not going to be found in the color of your dress, right? At least I hope you know that. It's going to be found in really, as I said, continually working on that constant and never-ending improvement. The Kanai of all the important facets of your life. And really overcoming the obstacles there. And then you bring that to pageantry, and you can be so proud of when someone asks you, why do you deserve to win? You won't have to, be racking your brains and go, geez, that's a really good question. I have no idea because I've not been focusing on my life. I've just been focusing on winning this pageant, right? So upgrade your life, upgrade your pageantry. And that's my promise to you, is that the focus of the sorority will be very much on upgrading your life. Yes, there will be pageant stuff, definitely, because we're a pageant-centric sorority. But there's going to be, I'm just telling you, there's going to be a big focus on all the other areas. So in terms of bringing in keynote speakers for you or collaborating with various people, I'm really going to be looking for people, much as Christina did, in terms of looking for people on finances, on fitness, maybe on relationships. I mean, the list is endless of, the areas of life that we'd like to be really good at, myself included. And we're going to be putting a large focus on that, under the assumption that that is really important to you, and then the dual assumption that improving that is really going to have a huge flow-on effect to how good you are at pageantry, or how much success you have in pageantry, or frankly, the most important question, how much you enjoy your pageant journey and how much fulfillment you get from it. Because it's not just about winning. You could go to a pageant, not place, but know that you put your best foot forward, meet amazing women, know that you told your story, and come away feeling like a winner, even if you don't have that tiara or crown on your head. Okay? So, upgrade your life, upgrade your pageantry. I'm going to leave it there. If you're hearing a sound in the background, it's because it's pouring down. It was a lovely beginning to summer last week, and now it seems like God is punishing us by making it pour down here. So hopefully that stops soon. But thank you so much for watching. If you want to be amongst the first people in the world to get access to the sorority when we launch, then make sure that you head to thepageantsorority.com. If you haven't already, put in your email address. There's no charge for that. And then I'll make sure to keep you in the loop with when we launch, and maybe throw in a special bonus or discount there for you too. I will see you tomorrow.